This is the RotoWire DFS Soccer Show. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Jordan Cooper and Ryan Belongia. We're back from the international break. Jordan is back from his travels, and we're here. We got a 5-game Premier League slate on Saturday. Is this the first 5-game slate we've had? I don't know. I feel like it's been a lot of 4-gamers that we've been talking about. So we got a 5-gamer with Tottenham at home as the biggest favorite. Jordan, what's going on? You got an unbranded hat. Is that correct? Are you a member of Marvel? Is that what's going on?
No, it just I needed a new hat and there was nothing I wanted to get, so I just got a cheap black hat.
Okay. Black hat, Michael Mann movie, Netflix.
They make hats, and all the hats that are getting made now are all like I like the fitted and everything like that. Everything is like snapback, flat bill. You know, you have to wear it like this or something because that's the style or something. Like where's just a nice baseball cap? You curve it a bit, and there you go, and you're done.
That doesn't exist. If you buy like a fitted hat online, they just never fit. There's always the wrong size, and my head hurts after wearing them. So
I don't want the dad caps with the it has to be structured, right? It has to be structured there, and come on.
I totally agree. Maybe a hot take, but I think if you're over 30, you can't really be wearing those flat bills.
I mean, come on.
I think I'm gonna change my hat up next week just for Ryan.
Maybe next week.
All right, but as we get into the slate, rotowire.com/soccer trial. Yes, we're back. Soccer trial, 48-hour trial to get this cheat sheet and all of our stats. We're coming back from the international break, so that always leads to a lot of questions with the lineups, and there's going to be a lot of things that we can't answer going to this one, but we'll see how things look. There's a few injuries. I'll try and run through some injuries really quickly. So we're not going to get Grealish. He's out. Kovacic is out. Seems like Soufal will be fine. I have West Ham going into more of a defensive formation here without Benrahma in the starting 11. They did this against Brighton a few weeks ago. Tottenham are mostly fine. We could see Solomon in the starting 11 instead of Richarlison. Sheffield United, I'm not sure how much that matters. They're running low on wing backs, though, something to keep an eye on. Antony is going to be out for Manchester United. They may have some questions on the back line. Lisandro Martinez hasn't played because of his foot issue. Did play over the international break. We could see something like Martial and Højlund start. I got Garnacho in here. We could see if Amrabat is ready, he could be in the defensive midfield role. That would move Christian Eriksen up, which would move Bruno Fernandes to the wing. We have seems like Evan Ferguson and Danny Welbeck are both healthy. So Brighton's mostly good otherwise. Willian is back from his injury. So he's an option to start. Luton Town. Wasn't really an update on Doughty, so he should be good to go. Aston Villa. Crystal Palace, I guess, is a big one as well. Gahey is out, and then Jefferson Lerma is out. So two of their pretty, important defensive players are out, which could see a change in their lineup. All right, so that's it here. That's it. That's the show. I just went through the lineups, and we should be good to go here. But all right, Jordan, we'll start off with you because me and Ryan just talked back and forth for 80 minutes on the NFL DFS show. Check that out if you're into mine and Ryan's takes on NFL. Jordan, Tottenham biggest favorite. Are we just plugging in Tottenham players and skipping over Manchester City? Is that how we're playing?
I'm not necessarily sure about that. I think there are options. I don't think this is as straightforward of a cash bill as you would think. I think there are ways to go double spend up at forward. There are ways to spend down in one forward spot. But I mean, really, I think the only plug and play guy in cash is you're going to play James Maddison at 9,800. I mean, in your midfield spot. Outside of that, I mean, there may be a defender that may be preloaded in as well. I don't know. You could go a lot of other places this way, but in the forward spots, the question comes down to basically, I think 4 guys in the pay up range that I would say are the playable ones. It would maybe 5. The fifth one, I'm not a big fan of playing him in cash if I choose not to. But you got Holland, you got Alvarez, you got Foden, the 3 Man City forwards, especially with all the injuries and whatever. So the substitution risk goes down and down. And then you got Son for Tottenham at 9,300. And then you also got Eze at 9,600 who's essentially does everything for Crystal Palace in a poor matchup. Like Man City are on the road, but second biggest favorite, 2+ implied team total. Son at home, great matchup, nearly 2.5 implied team total. Eze, more floor oriented, I would say. Probably his upside is a little bit more limited in this matchup with Aston Villa. My natural inclination is to play, truthfully, I think you play Foden and Alvarez. And Son, if you wanted to reply, I think Foden plus one of Son or Alvarez would be the pairing if you were to pay up twice at forward. But I'm not sure that necessarily could be the best construction.
Ryan, are you on these, man? Are you on Foden and Alvarez here, or you prefer the better matchup with Son here?
Yeah, I don't think it's straightforward, as Jordan said. So I'm uncharacteristically underprepared for this soccer slate after
you're fired. Get out of here.
So much on NFL, right? Yeah. I got my in-laws staying with me too. But anyways, that's not the point. I did look at the slate.
I mean, I agree, but you agree with me that it's not straightforward.
No, it's definitely not straightforward. But I think some parts of the slate are straightforward, and then you sort of go from there. You mentioned Madison preloaded, maybe 2 defenders, Digne for sure, and then probably Anthony or Andreas Pereira for 5,100. I mean, we'll have a conversation about midfield, but yeah, it's not clear cut what to do at forward. I'm not sure. You can spend up twice. Yeah, I agree. I think Foden probably is the Manchester City guy just because he's the cheapest. Eze and Son is not straightforward. You can go either way on that one. The matchup really favors Son. Probably one of the better matchups Spurs are going to see. Almost a 2.5 total. I'd probably lean Son there, as he's probably the odd man out. But I think you could punt forward. You could punt forward as well. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd say this matchup here against Sheffield United is very enticing. So you have the Son question here. You can see in the goal odds, he's -120 to score, second behind Haaland. In cash games, Haaland will be. I don't know. Will he be popular, Jordan? What do you think? He's not going to be popular.
I think overall. I mean, not just in cash games. I think the ownership at forward. I think the highest owned forward is going to be Son. I think the second highest will be Foden. I think the third will be Haaland. Fourth will be Alvarez. And then it kind of drops off on there. I don't know if is Doku going to play?
Seems like he's going to start. Yeah.
I mean, like it's all encapsulated around these like Man City players that I think it'll be spread out enough that like in GPP, I could see a lot of people playing a combination of 2 Man City players or one of them with Son. Like, I think those would be popular combinations. I think the mid-range is what's not going to be much owned. And then when you go down to the bottom, like you could play. I mean, I'm not a big fan of punting with 4K forwards for, that have 2-point floors. But just based on goal scoring odds, I mean, what Rasmus for Man United if he starts, I don't think he plays 90, right? And then you have Raul Jimenez, who probably doesn't play 90, but maybe 80. I mean, if Vinicius comes on or whatever. I mean, Fulham is going to. This is probably going to be the best matchup for Fulham the entire season, home against Luton. And they're and Fulham as a team is underpriced on this slate. For GPPs, that would be my favorite team to stack on the slate. But do I want to play 3 Fulham players in cash? Do I want to play Raul Jimenez at 4,400, Pereira at 5,100, and Anthony Robinson at 3,900? I mean, value-wise, that sounds fine to me. But then where do you spend your money? You have Madison, then you play, Son or one of the 9K forwards. You get to the point where your utility spot ends up being like 6,600 or something like that. And I don't know if that necessarily is the best construction. I think it comes down to, I know I'm skipping around here. Would you rather play here, Ryan? Here's the question. In cash, GBPs, this is an easy answer. In cash, would you rather play Raul Jimenez at 4,400 or Oliver Norwood at 4,300 against Tottenham?
Norwood. Actually, no,
not Norwood, because isn't Hammer splitting the sets now?
Yeah.
I would sacrifice the couple floor points and play Jimenez. I know,
or Højlund or whatever. I'd rather play one of these 5K forwards than it feels like Norwood is a nice safe bet for like 5.5 points, right? But like Jimenez and these forwards could have only 2 points, but they could also have 18 points.
I also think if McAtee starts, former Manchester City player, he may actually like steal a set piece or two, so that drops Norwood's floor even more.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of playing guys like Norwood in cash as much as I may have in the past. I mean, even in cash, I want a little bit of upside, like rather than playing an underdog defensive midfielder.
But how about a guy like Garnacho at 5,200? That's kind of the range. If you pay down at forward, you're looking for those types of players. I feel on this slate that I either want to pay up twice at I feel my gut is pay up twice at forward, play Madison, Pereira in the midfield, Dean at defender, Anthony Robinson, and then goalkeeper doesn't matter as much, and then play a third defender in the utility in like that 4 to 5K range, then go down and fill a forward spot with like Jimenez or Højlund or all these guys, the goal dependent guys, because essentially it's either that or like Kenny Tete or it's like someone like that. It's like how much are you willing to sacrifice floor for ceiling? And I almost feel like based on that construction, it doesn't even matter that Jimenez or Højlund or Garnacho or any of these cheaper forward guys are even forward eligible. So all you'd be doing is like, is there a midfielder that you'd rather play than a 9K forward? And I'm not sure, other than Madison, is this a Bruno Fernandes slate at 8,800? I don't think so. Not against Brighton.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with pretty much everything you said. Yeah. The third defender, I don't know. Fulham specifically, I was looking at a lineup with Tete in the flex. They have these other fullbacks now. Like they just signed Castagna. I saw Tete got subbed off last game, so like that worries me a little. So I don't know. I'd be tempted to play like a Rasmus or a Jimenez in the flex. I don't think it's the worst thing. Yeah, I think you can spend up at forward twice, though.
I actually think I may actually like Doku more than Julian Alvarez.
No.
Yeah.
No. What?
No, right. I'm shaking my head also. I'm like, no.
No.
You're saving a bunch of money with him. Alvarez doesn't have any guarantee of sets with Foden in the lineup. He didn't have a floor against Fulham in their last game. I mean, what, you're paying the extra 1,500 for a possible split of set pieces when we talked about it 2 weeks ago. That's far from guaranteed. So, I mean, Doku, I think, has even almost like a Grealish-like floor because of how he plays on the ball, which I don't think is something that Alvarez does, is draw a lot of fouls. Was it 9,100 to 7,400?
It's good logic. But I think Alvarez is kind of guaranteed a split of sets without Grealish. And I also think he's a much better bet to play 90, whereas Doku is going to struggle to play more than 70, 75. I also think it's not a smash spot for City. And I was all over Doku in his debut, and he didn't look great in a lot of ways. So yeah, I'm not rushing in. I'm not rushing to jam City guys here. I'd maybe honestly I'd rather play Richarlison. I'd rather play Richarlison than Doku.
You'd rather play Richarlison?
Yes.
Than Doku.
Much more likely to score a goal. They're both going to play 70 minutes. I don't know. Better matchup.
I agree with Ryan. I'm for DFS purposes based on the pricing. I think it's much more likely that Spurs win 4-0 than City win 4-0. And given the pricing the way it is, I'd much rather have. I think the Man City pricing is efficient. I think that's a better way of putting it mathematically. I think that the Spurs pricing may actually be too cheap. Like the pricing, Madison on this slate probably should be 11,000. Son should probably be 10.5, right? But I think Alvarez at 9,100 is like efficient, and Foden is Haaland at 10K is efficient. So like I don't prioritize these Man City pieces. That's why like leaning towards like Foden plus Son in cash. Like I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. And that being my only Man City exposure and be Foden and at 8,200. And even if you said, oh, you'd rather pay up and go Eze Son and have no Man City, I don't think I don't see Foden as must of a play as Madison or Digne or some of the other guys that if you made a case for someone else, it's like you're not going to be playing these. You're going to be playing these guys over guys like Ward-Prowse, who's overpriced at 8,400 against Man City, or Bruno at 8,800 in an awful like the Man United Brighton game. Like the players are just overpriced for how close the matchup is. That I'm much more likely like. Why am I playing efficient prices for Man City when Fulham are underpriced? Tottenham is technically underpriced. I want to get those guys in.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear Adam's thoughts, but one thing I'll say, look at the total in that United Brighton game. It's pretty clearly the highest, and the game has a chance to be wild. So I don't really mind a Bruno. I get the argument for Bruno is what I'm saying, but not necessarily for cash games. And then, yeah, for tournaments, just to sort of put a cap on it, or Adam, I think you would get Doku very low owned in tournaments. And I actually think in general, you're going to get Manchester City lower owned than we're usually going to see them in tournaments. All of their players. Yeah.
Including Rodri for 7,200.
Yeah, no one's going to do that. I mean, of course, people are going to still play Haaland and Alvarez, but I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's going to be high.
Yeah, I guess my saying Doku over Alvarez was more about me not wanting to play Alvarez. It was more, it's kind of what that was about.
Yeah, I don't really want to play him either. I agree with the sentiment.
I know you guys aren't going to like these plays, but Jordan Ayew is 5,800. He's had a good floor of the season. Likely for 90, and Carlton Morris likely for 90 at 5,400. Two underdogs, a little cheaper. Both have had, somewhat floors in difficult spots this season. Any consideration there as your cheaper striker?
Well, he isn't that cheap. I mean, it's 5,800. But I mean, from a floor perspective, I think that's fine. But I mean, I don't think you're in that construction zone. You're probably not playing that level of forward. I mean, if anything, you'd be playing that in the utility, and then I think there are better players. Like Ayew is good for forward eligibility on a slate that has little at forward and midfielders in the 5K range that you don't want, or defenders in the 5K range you don't want. But I think I'm much more looking Like if I'm going to spend down at forward, it's going to be in the 4K range. It's not going to be it's not going to be at 5,800.
I'm just trying to get a way not to go with Raul Jimenez. That's what my strategy is. He is the Chris Wood of this slate, is he not? 4,400. Where is goal odds here?
No, he
his goal odds are great. I mean, dude, his goal odds right here is one of the highest on the slate.
I thought they would be better, if I'm being
Plus
honest.
175. And like I said, Fulham are like, I wouldn't be shocked if Fulham had tons of shots this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. IU, it's like right on the line. Like I like IU in a vacuum. And I agree, it'd be nice to play IU instead of Rasmus or Jimenez, but it just doesn't seem like you're there. Jordan made a good point. Like IU is good for filling forward eligibility, but we don't really need to do that here.
Mm-hmm. Someone mentioned it here, just based off of all the projections here. If we're going to plug in, Ryan mentioned this implied goal total here, 3.5 for Manchester United and Brighton. We could have a situation where both Højlund and Martial start. Martial's 4,300, Højlund's 4,600. Someone in our Discord actually asked this morning, rotowire.com/chat, if Højlund was going to be chalk because he's 4,600. And I assume because this game total is expected to be high scoring. Are either of you in that same thought? It doesn't seem like it, just based off of what we're talking about here. But I mean, when you look at the game total here, it's like, okay, 3.5, almost a 2 implied goal total for Manchester United. They're at home, and Højlund will be a starting forward. I feel like in certain spots, like this would be like, okay, yeah, we play him. This is a starting forward for Manchester United. But it doesn't seem like any of us are really on that wavelength.
Do you think he has a chance of playing 90 minutes?
I mean, he without Antony in there. I mean,
if Martial starts for sure, then
yeah,
I would almost favor him to play 90 minutes if Martial starts. But if not, then pretty much no chance. Yeah, Adam, that was interesting because now you kind of see it where. Yeah, I do think he'll be relatively popular because of the total, because Manchester United paid $80 million for him, because he's on Manchester United, and just because he's cheap. So yeah, I do see him being relatively popular in tournaments. I don't know. I don't know.
It won't be exorbitant.
Not at all.
35% owned thing.
No, not at all. Especially because you have Raul Jimenez there in the same range. I just mean people are going to play him. He's in the game with the highest total.
He's going to be double digit. He will be double digit owned in GPPs. Yes.
Yeah.
But I would agree with you that I'm much more comfortable playing him if Martial is also out there than Martial sitting on the bench waiting to come in at the 60-minute mark.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just looking through some projections here, and he will be popular. I think just because of the price, he's going to be up there, even in cash games. I think we're having this discussion. We're 20 minutes in. We're having this discussion about even first and second forward. There's going to be questions, and people are going to see a starting central striker or starting striker for Manchester United here.
Adam, who do you think people would rather click, him or Garnacho or Martial? I
mean, Højlund for sure.
Right. We've tried enough with Martial at this point.
Yeah, it's I mean, Pellistri, I think he's Argentinian, is also, I don't think he's going to start, but he's 3,600 listed as a midfielder. They just don't have a ton of guys. And
wouldn't it be crazy if he started? Ten Hag started him before in these types of spots.
Yeah, I mean, in that situation, we wouldn't be playing.
They also just signed him to a new contract, so they think highly of him.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even mention Sancho he's not even training with the team because he had an argument with Ten Hag, so he's not an option either. So they basically, over the international break, they lost Sancho and they lost Antony. So
tough times over there at United. Ten Hag seems like a tough player for a lot of players to play for.
Yeah, it's kind of falling apart here.
Tough manager for I saw David Neres said something funny about. Did you see that when Ten Hag was managing Ajax? They had like a little some joke about his hair and like
he benched him in a Champions League game or something.
He benched him for 2 straight games over it. Like,
yeah, he made fun of him because he was bald. Neres did. And then he benched him 2 games. Yeah, probably something Sancho did too, for all we know. In the midfield is a little easier discussion. We mentioned Maddison. We mentioned Pereira. 9,800, 5,100. I mean, at this point in cash games, is it worth it to even look outside those 2 options? Set piece takers, home favorites. Jordan, is there any reason just to look elsewhere in the midfield? Or are these guys going to be – this is going to be one of the slates where both these guys are, 70, 80+% in cash games?
I don't know if Pereira's going to be that as owned. I mean, Maddison may be the highest owned player on the entire slate. But Pereira isn't a lock for 90. I mean, you got Willian out there. You got Harry Wilson out there. I for GPPs, I mean, even for cash, dude, if you wanted to play Harry Wilson at 5,400, I wouldn't call you nuts. I mean, like, he's active out of the wing there also. He probably has a higher goal scoring upside than Pereira, right? From open play, at least. And I mean, I don't think that's nuts. I mean, there are midfielders to play. In the high end, I think it's easily Maddison himself, and then for cash purposes, like, I ain't playing anyone in the mid range. I mean, I'm much more likely to throw in like Pereira, go down to like John McGinn at 4,200.
Oh,
like, he'll
wow.
play 9. What?
Wow. McGinn is 4,200.
He'll play 90. He'll play on the wing for Aston Villa. He's not as productive as he was previously. But, I mean, would you rather play McGinn or Norwood? I'd rather play McGinn, right?
Definitely.
No, yeah, I would. For sure. I'm just saying, you said he wasn't as productive as he was previously. I'm not sure I'd go that far yet. I mean, 2 of the games were at Liverpool and at Newcastle. We'll see. He's still playing an attacking role, so.
No, good point.
I will say also about Pereira, you said he's not guaranteed for 90. He was returning from an ankle injury earlier in the season, and he went 90 in a 5-1 loss against Manchester City, so I think that's a pretty good sign. I feel like he's going to get back to where he was last season in terms of minutes, in terms of playing time. So I wouldn't be worried about minutes there. They are getting Alex Iwobi back, but I don't think that's going to be – it could be a factor there for Pereira, but I don't think that's going to be a, like for like sub there for him.
Yeah.
No, I mean, Pereira at his price, I'm fine with. I'm just saying that like ceiling wise, it's not like, oh my God, this guy's going to generate 20 points. I mean, if he gets you 8 or 10 at 5,100, you're cool. But I mean, if he gets over owned, like, it's the type of thing that if Fulham players, if we see in GPPs where people are playing Pereira, people are playing Jimenez, people are playing Anthony Robinson, it's like, dude, I could play Kenny Tete and Harry Wilson, and they're cheap. Like, the whole Fulham team is underpriced. So even though
except
maybe
for Willian,
Pereira and Anthony Robinson and Jimenez may be the most underpriced, like, the other ones are underpriced also. So if the ownership difference is going to be 2-1, like, feel free in GPPs. Like, I have no problem playing Harry Wilson, Raul Jimenez lineups in GPP, and then just jamming in. Like, I could just like full stack Tottenham, and I mean, I'm good. I'm good right there.
Ryan, if Willian starts for Fulham, would that at all turn you off of Pereira? Because we've seen in the past where, Willian at a minimum will split set pieces. Sometimes, I don't know if he took all of them in certain games, but he does take some when he's on there. Would that turn you off at all?
Maybe in a vacuum, but not for cash. Pereira's going to be chalky enough where I'm not going to fade that no matter what.
We're not talking about a $6,800 Andreas Pereira. He's 5,100.
Yeah, and he takes pens, right? And the matchup is elite. So I don't really see how you can fade in cash games. For tournaments, yeah, I totally agree. Fulham have a bunch of extra attackers now on Fulham.
Is he guaranteed to take PKs?
No, he's not guaranteed, but he did take the last one. right? I mean, now without Mitro.
Okay.
But Fulham, like you said, they have a Iwobi on the bench now or starting. They have Adama Traore there now. So, I mean, it's not going to shock me if Pereira gets subbed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've seen the wingers there being likely options to be subbed. I mean, otherwise in cash games, that's kind of what we're talking about here. What else stands out? I mean, we look at this Manchester United. I guess it's going to be a talking point for this entire show here. We got this high implied goal total. We got Bruno. We got Solomon March. We haven't even mentioned Pascal Gross's name yet, so he'll probably get 30 points. He'll probably get a couple PKs, something like that, and he'll help everyone who plays him for his set pieces kind of a thing. But I mean, those guys are there. I don't know how much are you guys looking, Jordan? How much are you looking at these Brighton Manchester United players?
Well, welcome to GPP land. I think the two best plays on the slate for leverage are Marcus Rashford and Solly March, because they fit in the zones where where most of the field is playing other people. If people go down for Højlund, they're not going to be playing Rashford, and at the Rashford's price range, people are playing Man City pieces or Tottenham pieces. Then you take a look at it, everyone's playing Madison. Like, how the hell are you playing 8,300 for Solly March? So like Joe Pedro, I like at forward for GPP at 6,900 also. And same for Bruno Fernandes. For Bruno Fernandes's ownership will be much lower than we'll normally see on Bruno Fernandes type slates. So, I mean, to me, I mean, I expect this. I mean, the game total is the highest. I want to get away from the pieces that, I mean, I think the only, Ryan, would you think in this game, the only significantly owned piece would be Højlund if he starts? And I don't see anyone being like anything more than 20% owned in that case, anyone in the game. And I think some pieces will be under 10%.
Yeah, probably Bruno. Bruno will creep up there a little, but yeah, he won't be like crazy popular. No, I think you're right. The one guy I'd add to that, the guy I like for leverage in that game, quickly becoming one of my favorite players, Miedema for 6,600. I mean, reigning
he's
Premier
your
League.
new Harvey Barnes.
I mean, no, but except he's the real deal. I mean, no,
Harvey Barnes
is a great player.
worse.
Harvey Barnes is a great player, but Miedema is like, he's on the way to getting signed by Barcelona next year. Reigning Premier League player of the month. Guy's just unstoppable. Almost always plays 90 minutes. I remember in this spot last year, or was it May? I forget when it was. I was worried about him up against Wan-Bissaka, and the game started, and I mean, he terrorized United. So yeah, I mean, these guys aren't going to be popular, like Jordan said. I think they make for great GPP plays.
I think he got goal of the month. I don't know if it was player of the month, but
player of the month too. I mean, he's been
right. Okay.
unbelievable in every Brighton game I've watched. Can't believe how good the guy is.
Yeah, there's some good quotes about him, about how he was picked up.
Sorry,
from,
Adam,
university.
You're right. Goal of the month. My bad.
Yeah, I just want to. You're lying to the fans, so I
don't want to lie to the fans.
Maybe this is the month he becomes player of the month, and that's why you have to play him early.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say in relation to Harvey Barnes, I mean, the difference was that Leicester City never had the ball and weren't really a consistent team the last few years. Well, it's the opposite for Brighton. So when Miedema is Ryan's guy, it's actually he's more consistent, and I'd say more consistently better player than Harvey Barnes was, who seemed to be, goal or bust guy.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. Put Harvey Barnes on Brighton, and he would have been more consistent.
One thing that we didn't overlook last week, but maybe I think I overlooked in my personal lineup. But Basuma is still 4,100 home against Sheffield United. He's basically had a 8-point floor in every game so far. 10 points against Burnley last week. He had he had an assist for his national team over the international break. That video is going around where he's just like dribbling in the opponent's box and going through players, and just a crazy assist. And everyone's just like talking up like Bissouma crazy in form. But 4,100 at home against Sheffield United. I mean, I don't know. I mean, is he, I guess, a utility here? Is it worth it to go with him over Pereira if you need the money, or is that too crazy?
No, it's more of maybe you play him over McGinn. You know, I mean, like that. Maybe you play him over a 4K defender type of thing. But I don't.
Yeah,
I was with
you. I was with you the whole time until play him over Pereira. But I agree with that. Everything else you said. I think he's fine in the flex. I'd rather play him than Kenny Tete. He's actually like a really good player. There was like all the big teams were after him before he signed for Spurs. He just had a really tough start for them. Now, under Ange, they look really good. SARS looked good too. But yeah, just from a pricing point of view, 4K for Bissouma in a matchup like this, he's got a goal or an assist in him too.
What if Matheus Nunes started at 3,700 on the wing instead of Doku? Is that intriguing for you guys?
Man, that another great thing to bring up. Yeah, that is intriguing. It wouldn't surprise me either. I mean, Pep's talked up Nunes as one of the best midfielders in the world. I mean, he made him a priority to go out and sign Nunes, and I didn't think Doku fit in just yet. I think Doku's got massive potential. But yeah, that's interesting too.
Yeah, this morning it was Pep's first press conference since he had back surgery a few weeks ago. He was talking up Nunes. He's like, he can play anywhere. I can use him wherever. So
yeah, and he can. And I'll just throw this out there, but would anyone be too surprised if he showed up on the corners instead of Alvarez?
Don't say that.
I gotta say it. We saw him take some at Wolves. I wouldn't shock me. I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, that would be something. That would be something. Jordan, do you have any other midfielder thoughts here in cash, or
no?
Some
I mean, we
GPP
talked about
stuff for
all.
later. Yeah, we talked about them all. We talked about every single one. I'm just scrolling through the list. All right, let's get to defender here. I think defender is pretty interesting. We don't have like a TAA. We don't have the 8K Trippier or whatever. We have Porro at home we've talked about him a little bit this season. It just seems like he is still getting priced as if he takes corners or set pieces from last season, but he is 6,400. And I think we talked about this the last time Tottenham were on the slate. Like Udogie is 4,700, whereas I don't think there should be a price difference there. I know Luca Digne is probably the number one guy here at 5,300. But Jordan, what are your thoughts here on this Porro Udogie situation?
Well, I mean, now that they're playing a four-man back line now. I mean, last year, these guys were playing as essentially attacking wingers. So, I mean, it's the best matchup on the slate, right? These guys have the highest ceiling. I think Porro has Porro can score a goal. I mean, it'll show up in the box. I mean, it'll happen. But for cash games, I don't know you're getting up to a $6,400 defender. I don't know what type of builds that you're going to be using, but I mean, he's there. That's fine. I mean, I think Udogie is just as good at 4,700, but I mean, Dean is the priority at 5,300, splitting set pieces at home for Aston Villa, and then it just comes down to like everyone in this 4K range is: do you want to play Udogie over Raul Jimenez or Højlund or McGinn or Norwood or Bissouma, or like to me, these are all like flex play type of things. Then you get down to like Anthony Robinson or Delo or Wan-Bissaka at 3,700. I mean, my natural inclination is to play Anthony Robinson at 3,900 in the best matchup that Fulham's ever going to get, and he gets forward when he's available to get forward. Maybe he doesn't play 90, but I don't think Tete or Robinson both, they could come off at 75. But at these prices, I'm much more willing to take advantage of that than need to find the 500. I think it's going to be tight enough that unless you want to like pay up at goalkeeper, you're probably going to need to go in this like low 4K, high 3K range anyway. That if you told me that you played Basuma over Anthony Robinson in the utility, so you could play Udogie at 4,700 or something it's fun. We're getting into like the really nuanced like 2v2, 3v3s that obviously are going to make the hugest difference in cash games, but the projection wise are going to be like this small.
Yeah, does anyone stand out for you, Ryan? Outside of Digne?
Yeah, I think. Well, I had Robinson in as the second defender for cash games. 3,900 is just too cheap for that matchup. You should play 90. I think Tete is probably more likely to get subbed. But yeah, Poro's an interesting one. He doesn't, not for cash games, but I think he's a pretty good tournament play. Kind of compare him to, he's like Alexander Arnold if Alexander Arnold didn't have any set pieces. And like the way that I've seen Spurs been playing, he's drifting into the center like Alexander Arnold drifts into the center now. And you can see he's taken 3 shots in each of the last 2 games. And he's got a really good right foot, and he's a good long range shooter. I think Udogie is more of the guy that's gonna get to the byline and pull one back for a tap in assist. So yeah, I think those Spurs guys are really good tournament plays.
Yeah, it seems like why go elsewhere when you can get Anthony Robinson at 3,900. It seems like that's going to be the route, Digne and Robinson as kind of the cash defenders, because just no one really else pops off the page unless you go with Tottenham, unless you go Porro, Udogie. I think not sure Matty Cash is worth it either at 4,500. That's pretty much it. Anyone else stand out just to mention it at defender? I guess I will say here, as I'm scrolling down the list, we have Kabore is only 3,100. If Kabore starts, he would be on the wing. Not a terrible spot against Fulham. Whereas Giles and Doughty, I believe, are both midfield. Yeah, midfield only for them. So
did you mention mention about Matty Cash?
A fine spot, but
yeah, no. He was another guy that I would maybe look at in tournaments. It's a fine spot, and he's been playing more attacking. I know he might not line up as a wing back, but he has in the past. He might not do that here, but he's still been getting very far forward, and he loves to rip shots too. So yeah, I think Cash is a pretty good tournament play.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying Robinson probably. It's hard not to go Robinson in cash games.
Yeah, it's hard not to go. Right.
Cheaper and a better matchup.
Right.
Jordan, who's your top center back this week?
Oh, top center back. Mine? I thought it's yours. I pick out yours.
Yeah, you're trying to guess.
Oh, is it going to be like Van de Ven or someone like that? Is it going to be a Tottenham one? Is it going to be? We already.
I know who Adams is. I know who Adams is.
Okay, who is it?
Wait, let me get it first.
Okay,
I got it.
He's going to play Eze at forward and pair him with $2,500 former Arsenal legend Robert Holding.
No.
What do you think, Adam?
No. I think Chris Richards also has a chance to start there at center back for him, the American. I'm actually going on the other side of that. I do have to decide if I'm going to play Douglas Luiz, though. But we got Ezri Konsa. So you take out Gahey, you take out Lerma. I think this is a chance where you could stack Aston Villa here, and this could be a spot where they get a few goals. Just based off of Crystal Palace having to remove 2 of their better players over the international break. I think that is extremely important. Aston Villa also kind of a bounce back here. They just lost to Liverpool before the break, need a win at home. This is their second home match. First home match, they got 4 goals against Everton. That will be a spot that I am looking to attack. I will keep an eye on this Crystal Palace lineup to see what they do. I mean, there's been times where, it's Will Hughes in there instead of Schlupp in the defensive midfield. And we know Hughes is like a guarantee for a yellow card and 5 fouls committed. So that'll probably boost the floor of a couple guys for Villa. But
yep. No, that's a very, very sharp take, I would say. Very sharp take. He's been one of the best center defenders in the league. I mean, he's positioning himself for a big move. So yeah, that's like, if you're going to play a center back, definitely look at those Villa center backs are great prices. And, it's pretty easy to pair him with Digne, who's going to get the assist from the corner.
Yeah. The question is if you want to go to Douglas Luiz, because I never want to play Douglas Luiz. And he's 6,100.
No, me either. For Douglas Luiz, I think it's a GPP play because he's on penalties, at least from what we've seen. And because like he's going to be 2% owned.
Yeah. Oh, shoot. We forgot to talk about goalkeepers here before we get into tournaments. Goalkeeper, what do we got? Let's see here. We got 46% clean sheet odds for Tottenham. Vicario's 5,900. So there's that. Are you guys going to have money for Vicario in cash games?
I'm not. I don't know about you. Most probably the 2 goalkeepers I'm most likely to play in cash would be Areola, right? Home goalkeeper, Man City taking a bunch of shots, or John Stone against Aston Villa. The fact that they have no defense actually helps his ceiling because you get a bunch of shots. I mean, Kaminsky's fine also, but I'm much more likely to be playing Fulham players in my lineup, so I'm less likely to want to also play the goalkeeper. But I mean, I think we'll be in that range. Or if you could get up to like Verbruggen at 4,600, I think that's fine in a matchup that may contain a lot of shots and open play. But I don't think this is the slate as of right now, as it stands right now. I don't see that many paths to paying up at goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Nope. I agree with Jordan. I'm paying down a keeper for one of those keepers. If I had the perfect lineup that left only 3,600 for Fotheringham, I probably would do it in cash.
Yeah, 4 saves.
I mean, I'd rather play
one
of those. I'd rather play one of those other guys. If I could, but I would do it.
I think speaking of players of the month, I'm pretty sure he won goalkeeper of the month in the Premier League. So
Fotheringham?
That's how good he is. Yep.
Okay. I mean, he's had to make a lot of saves, I guess.
Yeah, he's up there. Him and I think Leno or maybe Turner are up there with 20 plus saves. So it sounds like both of you guys are spending up at forward because otherwise you'd be able to spend up a little more at goalkeeper. That's at least what I'm reading here. Is that correct? Both of you are looking at 2 high-end forwards?
Most likely, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to say, yeah, I don't even, yeah.
Are you going to tell us your strategy?
No, but like, okay. All I'm thinking is if you have a forward in the flex, which I don't think Jordan's doing, but I was maybe looking at it, it's got to be a consideration to put him at forward and look at Bruno in the flex. I could just see some people saying that Bruno is a better option than a City forward or than Son. He has penalties and always plays 90 minutes and has been taking most of the sets, and that game has the highest total. I don't think it's bad. That's it.
Well, if he's going to be higher owned, I'm going to be playing the other Man United pieces in GPP. Like that to me, the GPP play is to fade Tottenham, right? And don't play Madison, don't play Son. If you want to throw in like a Porro or Richarlison lineup, like you're playing for Tottenham to win 1-0 or something, doesn't get that many peripherals. Just that they're going to be so popular that you have the money now to get all the pivots off of that. Like Madison is the most likely to be a Tottenham player that even if they only win 1-0, that you're going to need because he also scored the goal, right? Son isn't that player, right? So
right.
If anything, if you had to play Tottenham players, like Madison is the hardest one, even though he's 9,800. but I'm less likely to play like a one-off Tottenham player and just hope that that's the guy that scores and no one else does well. So like either Tottenham rolls or they don't roll. So the Man City forwards are going to also be looked at. Fulham is going to be decent because of their projection, but that's the main reason of like playing a Harry Wilson, Raul Jimenez type of lineup. Like I could see myself playing Harry Wilson plus Raul Jimenez, and then I'm playing Matoma, Pedro, Rashford, Hoyland. Like I'm just like basically playing the Man United Brighton game to be a 3-3, 4-3 type of game. Then go to like Eze plus Bailey plus McGinn, the Aston Villa Crystal Palace side, right? I'm much more likely if I play Fulham players, maybe I put a Morrison, maybe I put a Doughton or a Giles or a Barkley or something like that in to play so Luton does score a goal or something. But I think the game environment, the Man United Brighton game, the hard part of this game is figuring out who's the guys that are actually going to score, because there's a lot of options, but that will naturally decrease the ownership on these players when you combine that with the fact that Maddison, Son, I expect Richarlison will be decently owned because he's, forward for the highest total team. I think Haaland, Alvarez, Foden, all these guys will be owned enough that I don't want to take one side of this game, like the Man United Brighton game. Like, I don't just want to play Bruno. I don't just want to play Rashford. I don't just want to play Hoyland. I don't just want to play Matoma. I want to play 5 of these guys. I want to play 4 or 5. I want to put Wan-Bissaka in, right, into your defender slot. Brighton goes up 2-0 and now they're bombing forward. Like I'm looking for that type of game. I think you're much more, you get much more leverage, and this game is much more correlated. It's the highest total game. I'm much more inclined to do that. And then you still need to find value. And I think the value is more on Fulham's team than on Tottenham.
First thing, we haven't mentioned Kulishevsky's name yet on the show. He's 6,100. So I think that's pretty important that we haven't mentioned him. He might be less popular than he probably should be home against Sheffield United. Question for you, Ryan. How many of your lineups aren't going to have James Maddison in it? A few weeks ago, Jordan was coming on and talking about Eze's, built-in, I don't know what it was, 15-point floor.
Maddison, I said 12, and he got 11.
All right, Maddison, basically the same kind of thing here. He had 5 shots on target last match, 9,800. One of the best spots of the season at home. He's been awesome this season. Are you fading him at all in any of your tournament lineups?
Certainly not in high stakes. Yeah, he's a tough fade, but I will fade him in some of my main GPP lineups. I'm not sure how many. I'm going to give this answer where, if you're playing that main GPP, if you're playing that main GPP and you're only playing a few lineups, it's fine to fade Maddison. I mean, you're trying to beat tons of people, and if Maddison finishes with 15 and doesn't get a goal or an assist, it would look like a pretty good fade. I guess that's probably the best answer. I think I would not fade him in a high stakes or like single entry stuff probably. But I think he's probably a pretty good fade in the main GPP.
Yeah, makes sense. Figure what I was going with. This Manchester City game is hard here. I will say here, the highest implied goal total is Manchester United Brighton game. I think if Amrabat starts, I'm going to fade this entire game.
He means that much? What? What are you kidding me? If this guy plays, the whole game's a bust.
Christian Eriksen is not a real defensive midfielder. He's been in there that he has not helped defensively next to Casemiro. Amrabat is a real defensive midfielder, and Erik ten Hag is not going to want to get running up and down against this Brighton team. He's going to want to play it safer. He's going to want Amrabat roughing things up in the middle. And I am betting under on this match. It's in my article. Check it out, rotowire.com/soccer. But both these matchups last season were low scoring, or two recent matchups under De Zerbi were low scoring. And I think that's how it's going to go. I know the odds don't say that because they're kind of looking at the last 3-4 games and how these defenses have looked. But I think after the international break, Ten Hag's not going to want to get into a 3-3 game here. But Ryan, I don't know if you've given your massive thoughts on this one. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, just one of my thoughts in general now is that I'm starting to warm to Bruno. I might even he might even be better point per dollar than Alvarez and Foden. I sort of feel that way. Like if there was no positional eligibility, I feel like Bruno is a better point per dollar play than those guys.
You guys still play a forward though. That's the problem.
Right. As far as the game goes, I can see scenarios where Manchester United don't look great. I mean, look at all the guys that they have out. You're going to throw Garnacho in there. You're going to throw Rasmus in there for his debut. I don't know what's going to happen with Amrabat. So I think it's a decent take that the game could go under. I can see that happening. You can see it going the other way too, though. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of variance to this game.
So what's going to be your favorite match to target here? Or do you have a favorite match that you're looking at for tournaments?
I can give you, I mean,
Tottenham and Fulham.
Sure. Yeah. No. Okay. This is what I'll tell you what I kind of think. I think that we have City. You can go either way with City. And then I do think this is one of the lowest you're ever going to get, City. So if you want to go that route, I don't really mind it, but I'm kind of going to go the other way, in that people are going to see this high total Man United Brighton game. We also have City on the slate. I kind of like a full Fulham stack, a full Spurs stack. I like Villa, targeting Villa, these teams at home to just come out here and smash. And then maybe the United Brighton game finishes 1-0 or something, something like that. So it's, you kind of pick your favorite home spot, stack it up, something like that.
Jordan, how popular do you think Erling Haaland's going to be?
He's always popular. Doesn't matter. He's the Nick Chubb. He's the Nick Chubb of the EPL. Right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't know usage. 10% owned. It doesn't matter. No, I mean, the Man City players will all be owned. It's just that it will be spread out, which means no individual one is going to be like these Man City slates where they're all like 45% owned. The next one's 32% owned. The next one's 20. Like I could see Foden being the most owned and be only 26% owned, and Haaland being 18% owned, and Alvarez being 14% owned. They're not unowned.
You think Haaland's going to be 18?
Yeah,
I was going to suggest like 40. Is that too high?
No, Haaland's not going to be 40% owned. Son may be 40% owned. And Ryan's on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if he's actually talking to us. He's speaking, but
I was trying to talk to you. I think Haaland in the 20s for sure, and I think like you could get Doku for sure under 10%. That we'll see how it shakes out, but that's what I think.
No, it's going to be Matheus Nunes for 5%.
Yeah, I don't think he would be 5% for 3,700. But yeah,
but I think the Man United Brighton game is going to be underowned. Just based on price. Maybe Bruno gets to 25%. Maybe Rasmus gets to 25%, especially if Marshall's not in. But like everyone else in the game, like, dude, how Rashford, Mitoma, March. I mean, I don't see these guys at these prices. People aren't making those builds because you're not going to be able to get a Tottenham player. In order to
okay. You just reminded me. I got one more thing to say about that game then. If Amrabat starts, Adam, with Casemiro, Eriksen is the sneaky play.
As an attacking midfielder?
Yep. And like gonna take a set piece or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, was that the last slate we talked up Eriksen and then he got a goal?
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like playing Eriksen, but you put two defensive midfielders in there, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's his preferred role. Maybe maybe personally, that's probably his preferred route. But just in this Eric Ten Hag system, he hasn't really played there much. All right, I think we got anything else here? Jordan, you got anything else?
No, unless you wanted to talk NFL.
I think we covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say Haaland actually was minus 190 at least 2 days ago. Now he's minus 165 to score, so that's interesting. His numbers are going down. Maybe Manchester City's implied total here is going down as well. Something to think about. Maybe some people are betting on West Ham, I guess. Tottenham 2.42 is their implied total. But all right, that's a cheat sheet. RotoWire.com/soccer trial. What's the contest? I haven't had time to look at the contest. Is it 20K to first this week?
No. 10K to first with a 40K purse. Relatively standard.
Well, I thought the international break would have, drummed up some support, but we couldn't get there. I'm going to throw this hat away. No, just kidding. You're great, DraftKings. Thanks a lot. RotoWire.com/soccer trial, free 48-hour trial. You can find Jordan at BlenderHD on Twitter. Ryan is at Ryan Belongi. Sorry, that is X. That is X. And I'm at Zdroik. And then you can follow RotoWire Soccer also on X. Good luck on the slate, and good luck to everyone who plays Ollie Watkins, because he's going to get a hat trick. So congratulations to everyone that play Ollie. Good luck, everyone.
Good luck, everybody.